All right, guys, we got the special Hubbard's Marina fishing report for you this week. Instead of doing it like we have been in the past, where we type something up and we kind of edit it together and it's all kind of written word, this week we're trying something different, kind of spreading it out a little bit, doing it more in a video format. Hopefully you guys enjoy. As far as the weather is concerned, it's hot, and it's hot. That's pretty much the main weather point right now. We're on that first quarter moon, which means we're on the backside of a new moon, working our way to the full moon. The first quarter moon is coming up this coming Tuesday, and then a week from that will be the full moon. So right now, first quarter moon means a little bit slower moving tides, a little less water volume flushing on those inshore areas, but it does mean that we're working our way to the full moon, where we'll see more water volume, more bait flushing, and generally just a more active fishery. With that first quarter moon and slower moving tides, that means you're looking for those areas where fish can find some reprieve from the heat inshore. So if you're fishing inshore in the back bay areas, you want to definitely target areas like passes, points, or pockets, areas where you've got a little deeper water or a little bit more moving water artificially, like the entrance to a creek or a river or a pass like behind us, or where two islands kind of come close together and water has to funnel between the islands, causing that water to artificially move a little bit faster. So any constriction, point, pocket, pass is going to create a little bit reprieve, plus shade, like shade underneath a bridge, underneath a dock, is going to give those fish a little bit of a cooler temperature and get them a little bit more excited and feeding a little bit more actively as well. So look for areas where those fish can find more moving water and some cooler temperatures. They're going to be feeding more actively inshore. Offshore, we've been dealing with a lot of current, but now that current has subsided, weather looks really good to make it out there near shore and offshore. It is just extremely, brutally, bone-crushingly hot. So make sure you're staying hydrated. Drink lots of water, avoid alcohol and things like energy drinks. You want to make sure you're drinking tons of water before your trip, the day before, 2 days before. Prepare a gallon of water or more a day, and then once you're out on the boat, drinking tons and tons of water. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, take advantage of the great fishing we have going on now. We've got Brian, our inshore bait fishing extraordinaire, doing our inshore report this week. We've got Captain Frank with our nearshore report, and we've got Will with our offshore report, with me kind of asking questions and interviewing them a little bit. Hopefully you enjoy this new style of fishing report. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. We'll see you Sunday night, every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. for our live stream show. Every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. for our Real Animals radio show. And hopefully we'll see you out here on the water soon. Y'all have a great day, tight lines, and thanks for watching. All right, Brian, we want to film the inshore fishing report. And I know right now you've been inshore fishing quite a bit, right?
I'm always inshore fishing quite a bit. I've done it since I was a kid. I love it.
And right now you're seeing a lot of those mangroves, I heard, huh?
Yeah, so many mangrove snapper. It's really encouraging. Last year from the red tide, we only had a few little ones coming in.
Yeah.
This year people have been limiting out on the dock.
Nice.
I've seen people turn them up on the bridges. I hit a bridge the other night and got my limit in about 15 minutes. It's pretty awesome.
So mangrove snapper fishing is going really, really well. What are you catching mangroves on, or what would you target them on?
You know, I started off with shrimp, and that was working really well, but most of the fish were 8 to 11 inches, and even when I'm inshore, I try to keep them 12 and over. So I switched up to little baby finger mullet.
Little baby finger mullet was working best for you?
On an 1/8 ounce jig head, and it was automatic. Some of these fish were up to 15, 16 inches. It was pretty awesome.
What? 15, 16 inches, so baby finger mullet. And what size hook are you using?
It's the 1/8 ounce jig head.
Mission fishing 1/8 ounce jig head. So if you were going to use a hook with a knocker rig, what size hook would you go?
I would use something, maybe a 1 or 2-aught.
1 or 2-aught hook?
Yeah.
And then what size weight? Like 1/8 ounce?
A big split shot.
A big split shot, so as light as possible, basically.
Yeah, as light as you can fish in the area you're fishing. Bridges, you gotta have a little bit of weight just getting the strike zone.
And you're generally gonna try to target that slack tide to target the mangroves?
You know, I got out there at slack tide, and they all ate on the hard incoming.
Really?
It was bizarre.
But once that water starts rushing, isn't it harder to target them?
They just weren't biting until that water really started going. It was bizarre, but generally, yeah, I try to shoot for the slack tides for those as well as inshore groupers.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what about snook? Are you seeing the snook?
So the snook, there's still a million of them on the dock out here, all in the pass, and they're showing up really steady. The ones that are spawned out are showing up really steady on the flats. I was out fishing yesterday, mullet fishing, and it was a million snook from one side of Bay Pines to the other.
Nice.
Mostly small ones, but there were some big ones cruising through there. So.
All right, and the big ones, we're seeing a lot of big ones in the morning around the dock, out on the beach. Yeah. I know Scott Sadorf is catching a bunch of big ones with those pinfish and kind of free lining them. How would you target them where you're seeing them?
You know, once they're spawned out, they tend to be a little more lazy. They will eat pinfish and stuff, but that's when I usually switch to half of a dead ladyfish.
All right, so you're soaking in the back bay fishing the flats. You're soaking half of the dead ladyfish in the daytime.
Yeah.
Whereas like early morning out on the beach or around the pass, they're a little bit more active. Water's a little cooler. You might be able to get away with
Pinfish and grunts.
Pinfish and grunts.
Yeah.
So in the morning, you use a pinfish or a grunt. Lighter tackle away from the structure. During the day, heat of the day, you're fishing that dead bait.
Yeah, really, whenever I'm going for like a really trophy big fish, I almost always fish dead bait.
Nice, nice. So big fish inshore, big dead baits.
Yeah, they're opportunistic. They're not trying to chase things around if you're trying to get a really trophy. But if you're trying to have fun, catch a bunch of slots, fish the pinfish.
I gotcha. Some more activity, pinfish, big
Yeah.
fish, big bait.
Big fish sit and wait. Sometimes it's hours, sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah, one of the biggest snook I saw submitted for the fishing report recently was caught while shark fishing a big dead bait at a bridge. So that can happen this time of year.
Yeah, and what was really encouraging is the last couple of years I've noticed a big decline in redfish. Yesterday I rode from Jungle Parada all the way up to North Clearwater, and there wasn't a flat that wasn't full of redfish, mostly slot-sized, slightly over slot-sized fish. There were plenty of little tiny ones in there too. It was awesome. I was really surprised to see that many redfish showing up.
So a lot of redfish. How would you target them?
Redfish, I would throw out a pinfish on one rod, a piece of cut mullet on another rod, and then probably a big jumbo shrimp if I could find one in the summer on another rod, and see which rod goes off and switch them all to that.
Nice,
So
nice.
that's kind of my go-to.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Anything else inshore that you'd be targeting right now?
The sheepshead are actually schooled up on the flats right now, which is a pretty cool fishery. Most people don't do it, but if you can get some fiddler crabs, it's a good time to go wade a flat and sight fish the sheepshead. I really enjoy doing that. It's a very underrated fishery. They think, oh, it's not cold, you can't catch sheepshead. They're all over the flats mixed in with the mullet right now.
Nice.
So,
awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it, brother.
no problem.
All right, brother. So 10-hour all day. What are you guys catching out there right now?
Well, you know, we're getting a few stray red snappers because
Yep.
we're right on the line, and we caught a nice, healthy bunch of red groupers there. Of course, that season is over.
Yeah.
But we're getting lots of mangoes, yellowtails, lane snappers, and vermilion, and just a few of the gray snappers. You get a few of those in the 100-foot range, but not a whole lot of them. When you see them, they're a pretty good size, like a 2-pounder.
Nice.
But yeah.
So I know normally in like cooler months, when we're out here fishing October, November, all the way through like March, April, we get a lot of hogfish. But our 10 hours, we're mostly fishing shallower, closer to that 40, 50, 60 foot mark. This time of year when water's 92 degrees on the beach,
Yeah.
you're doing a lot more fishing deeper.
Yeah, for sure. It's blue. We're fishing blue water. We're even seeing the occasional mahi and, you know, pelagic fish out there.
All right, so you're fishing closer on these 10-hour all days right now, 80, 90, 100 foot basically.
Yeah, just about 100 foot, maybe just under 90 to 100 foot.
And you're seeing a lot more of those vermilions, lanes, bigger mangroves, and you might have a shot for a scamp. Triggerfish is going to open August 1st. It's kind of tough on a 10-hour, but there's a chance.
Yep, we did get a scamp yesterday,
Nice.
And in the previous trip as well. And of course, we got some red groupers, 6 or 7 really nice ones of those yesterday, and the mangrove snappers, and yeah, lots of lanes and vermilions. That's kind of like our bycatch. We catch the gray snappers on a half day. We're getting the lane snappers and vermilions as our bycatch on the. I don't know if you call it a bycatch. That's our catch for the most part.
That's our target.
Yeah, that's our target species. And then you know, those of folks that are trying for the mangrove snappers, they're getting them. You know, they're using the double snell rigs with the
cut thread fin.
sardines. Yep.
Yeah.
Cut thread fins. And some of the pinfish as well.
Nice. So on a 10-hour right now, normally cooler months we're fishing like a 2-ounce egg sinker, 3 and 4-aught hooks, and lots of shrimp for the hogfish. Right now, how would you rig up if you were going out in a 10-hour?
I'll tell you, a double snell rig with a sardine. I mean, that's kind of
40-pound leader.
Yeah, you can use a 40-pound leader,
4/0 hook,
and the 4/0 hooks, just like we're normally using. So
40-pound double snell 4/0 cut thread thing. So you're cutting the head, cutting the tail, and trimming the belly too.
For sure.
Nice.
And some people are even using some of the larger bait fish, like they'll catch a Tom Tate and they'll take a big hook and send that down. And that was for the red groupers though, so they're out. So maybe I'd say more of what we just discussed would be best for the
I gotcha.
snappers.
But you still got plenty of fish to catch with red grouper being closed. We got lanes, we got vermilions, we got mangroves, we got the white grunts or gray snapper, we
Absolutely.
got scamp.
If you took out those 6 or 7 red groupers out of our fish box yesterday, I still would have been happy with our catch. We had exactly what you said: yellowtails, scamp, mangrove snappers, even some red snappers that popped up, and we have jacks opening, and you never know. You might get a straight jack. We don't really target those so much on a 10-hour, but you just never know.
And red snapper goes all the way through end of day August 24th, so we got lots more time for those red snapper too.
Absolutely, I'm not done with them.
And on top of that, mahi wise, if you were going out in a 10-hour, what would you bring to kind of have in your bag of tricks for those?
Oh boy, well, you got to be good though.
I like a gotcha plug.
I was going to say a gotcha plug. That's
Okay.
what I have rigged up, and I keep that one up on the bow.
No
And
overhead casting.
No overhead casting, and you better watch out because gotcha plugs will get you. They should be called get you plugs. Because if they get snagged up and they come shooting back at you, they get you.
Yeah, they are dangerous. So you got to be good. But a gotcha plug rigged up on a casting rod, like a little spinning rod, one you're not fishing with, right?
That's right.
I gotcha. Anything else that you would recommend to anybody 10-hour all day wise?
Man, I mean, it's never a bad idea to have shrimp.
Yeah.
We push those shrimp during the hog fishing season, but when it's slow, and it can be slow in the summertime, I'm a firm believer that shrimp, will catch those fish sometimes when you're not getting them on anything else. When the fish bite is bad, and you have a 20-pound leader. You can knock down to a 20-pound leader and have a shrimp on there. You can still pull a few nice ones out when it's bad. And
Nice.
it's bad from time to time in the summer, but for the most part, we've had pretty good luck lately. I'm happy with it.
And then half day wise, if you're not on an all day, you run some half days too.
Yeah.
I mean, most what we're getting right now, just the gray snapper and the nice. Brian just flicked off the Florida. That's beautiful. So on the half days right now, you're getting the gray snapper. You're getting maybe some lane snapper. I saw a yellowtail come up on the half day.
A few yellowtails today on the drift, and it's been happening more and more and more. I'd say almost every trip of the last 10, we've been seeing yellowtails.
Crazy.
And that's caused me to do a few anchors.
Yeah.
And we've had some half day stops where we've caught a half a dozen yellowtails as well.
Mostly on squid or shrimp too?
Mostly on the shrimp. And we just recently started catching a few hogfish as well, like a half a dozen of them. Yeah,
Which is odd for this time of year, right?
It sure is, yeah.
So still got a chance for the hogfish. You got a chance for maybe a yellowtail. You got a chance for some lanes, but a lot of the gray snappers
That's
and
right.
porgies.
And one thing that I did happen to run across the other day is I was walking the beach and I found a bunch of these, they're called a speckled swimming crab, and with some blue crabs, and I chunked them up into 4 chunks, and I personally fished on it all day with them, and I caught 3 hogfish, and 2 of them were bruisers. And we're not supposed to be catching. Nobody else really caught them. I think we caught 4 that day, and I got 3 of them on chunks of crab. So if somehow you can run across some of these chunks of crab, I think what's happening is it's kind of weeding out all the other fish.
All the other bycatch.
Yeah, and it's just giving it a little bit longer for the hogfish to find it. So I'm not saying that's the ticket. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I've only done this one time fishing with crabs, and I tried it, and it worked for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, Frank. Thank you very much, my friend.
All right, we'll see you out there.
All right, guys, we got Will here from our long range fishing report section of our email newsletter this week. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing well.
And as far as offshore fishing goes, man, you guys have been crushing it. The last trip brought in a pile of meat with Captain Garrett. You guys are heading out again today on this 39-hour trip. What are you expecting?
We're expecting nice conditions, a little breeze out of the west, and we had current 2 weeks ago, and this week the current let up, and we're going to take advantage of that. And I'm pretty sure Captain Brian wants to start our deepest of the season this trip.
Oh, you guys are going super deep, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
In this maybe 200-foot range around in there, plus or
Nice.
minus.
Nice, nice. And as we get deeper, we've noticed bigger red snapper, bigger mangroves, some bigger grades of fish, right?
Yeah, we're going for the big mangroves tonight. And then what that does is puts us next to big red snapper. We're already out in deep water. We'll fish a ridge tonight and slide over and fish red snapper bottom and grouper bottom in the daytime.
Trying to hunt for those scamps. Now that red grouper's closed, we're real focused on those scamps, those big fat red snapper. And we still got a lot of time left for red snapper, huh?
Yeah, we got plenty of red snapper time, and there's plenty of bottom out there left to fish. We're gonna do a new area this trip, obviously starting in that deep water. And the scamps are better in the deep water as well. You fish 160 and 70 and you catch nice big red snapper, but there's not the scamp mixed in.
If you were gonna drop down on this trip as a guest to fish for scamp, what would you do? What's your tackle of choice?
It's tricky. Sometimes you end up with a big fish on this, but a lighter leader and smaller hook and 3 to 4 inch pinfish, 3 to 4 inch pinfish, depending on the size scamp.
Okay, so smaller pinfish, small to medium pinfish. And then when you say lighter leader, are we talking 30 pound, 40 pound, 50 pound?
I don't think you need to go below 40, but I would say 50 to be safe.
50 pound leader. And when you say a small hook, 6/0?
5.
5/0?
Yep.
5/0 hook, 50 pound leader, 3 to 4 inch pinfish, and you run the risk of getting mossed by a gag.
Yeah, or even big red snapper or whatever can still get you on that.
Yeah, but gags are closed, so if you lose a big gag, it's not gonna hurt your feelings too much.
Nope, and you can let a red snapper run around generally.
And he's not gonna get you buzzed up too much.
So yes, this time of year, if you're trying to get a big scamp and you already got 4 red snapper, and you're not worried about breaking something off now, then live pinfish with a smaller leader, smaller hook, or a whole squid works really well too.
A whole squid. So like buying the frozen squid in the office before you get on the boat, take that little 2 or 3 pound bag out there and use one of those whole squid.
Yes, a whole squid works well for them too. And
how are you gonna hook a whole squid?
You are putting him on a double hook at that point in time.
So you're using a double snell rig?
And I'm hooking the first hook right in the tip of the squid. Say that was the top, first hook right through the tip, and then the other hook would be down in here somewhere.
In its body somewhere?
Yeah.
All right.
But that one you're going to catch a lot of the bycatch with. You know, you're not just the pinfish. You'll have better quality fish on.
All right. So the pinfish sorts through a lot of the bycatch. The whole squid, you're going to get a lot of vermilions and other heads and tails with it.
Triggerfish, porgy.
Triggerfish. All right.
But eventually you get scammed.
And speaking of triggerfish, they open up August 1st for those triggerfish. People are excited about that. A lot of people ask, what's the setup for triggerfish?
I like a couple of things now for triggerfish. I've seen Mikey's put his GoPro down on the bottom, and the flashing red light, they go to it all the time. The triggers come right up to it and try to bite it. And I noticed that people catch more triggerfish if they have green beads on next to their hook.
So triggerfish like a bunch of junk.
Yeah, they like things to come look at and see what they are. They're curious fish.
All right, so adding a little bit of stuff that you would most of the time want to try to avoid. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's a Hansen.
Oh yeah.
That's one of those new Hansens. Sorry guys, now we're distracted. That's a beautiful boat. Hansen made skiffs, now they make center consoles.
Oh, I heard about that.
That's beautiful. That's right out of the mold. That's a freshie.
Yeah, it is lightweight.
Yeah. All right, back to fishing. So triggerfish like funny, funky things that are going to get them curious. And then what kind of bait are you going to put on it?
Generally fish like bonita or squid.
Squid strip, bonita strip, so something small, right?
Yeah, something they can chew on and not yank right off of there. We catch incidental triggerfish on everything. They bite almost everything, but you want something that stays on the hook well.
Are you talking like 2 inches long, 3 inches long?
And if you made a longer piece, you could get it and hook it a couple of times.
All right, so like a longer, skinny strip.
Yeah.
I always like quarter inch wide, quarter inch tall, like 2 to 3 inches long.
Yes.
That's like my yellowtail triggerfish strip.
And then
even grunts on a half day.
Hook it more than one time if you want to.
Double snell it.
Yeah.
All right, and leader size.
Leader size triggerfish, I'm generally chicken rig for the triggerfish, but again, lots of bycatch. But if you want to put a bottom rig down and try for scamps and other stuff too, 50.
50 pound.
They don't mind. They don't care about leader size really, in my opinion.
All right, so leader size doesn't matter with the triggerfish.
No.
All right, and then red snapper. I mean, everybody's after those red snapper. We got through end of day, August 24th, so we got lots of time left for red snapper. What's your favorite go-to bait?
Go-to bait for a red snapper is a whole thread fin is the easiest thing. You go through the box, dig yourself out the biggest thread fin you can find, cut the tail off of it. That's always there, but I like a nice pinfish for them as well.
A nice pinfish. What about dead bait?
as far as other
Because
dead bait.
at the beginning of season, I felt like we were talking about dead bait being the hot bait and being the best option. It seems like live bait's become more of a better option.
Yeah, they're biting the live bait a little bit better now, and they'll always bite the bonita strip. But my one downfall with the bonita is it spins on the way down to the bottom sometimes.
So you got to drop it slower.
Yeah, or so you just reel up after 5 minutes and you're all twisted up and you're like, man, I've been sitting here this whole time.
Wasted.
Yeah, so the thread fin doesn't spin on the way down. That's why I like the whole thread fin. You don't have to worry about it. But bonita works great for them. You just got to control it on the way down to the bottom.
Awesome, man. Anything else you want to add for these folks? What about pelagics? Have you seen pelagics?
No, this would be a trip where we might get them here. The deeper the better with the pelagics. We caught on my trips. We caught a tuna and a wahoo this season.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was a whole lot more other than that. Caught one other wahoo.
Yeah. We got a sailfish recently on that 39-hour private charter.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, trolling a skirted plug.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've been seeing them out there as well, jumping.
Free jumping.
And a lot of times it depends. Yeah, free jumping. A few of them free jumping, separate occasions.
Nice. All right, so if you were gonna troll, what would you troll with?
I'm either doing the Nomad, the
DTX minnow.
Yep, one of those, or you can do a topwater lure too this time of year for mahi and sailfish. Maybe they got a sailfish on a topwater. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Your favorite plug out there. And, we have been seeing more mahi this year than normal. We really haven't put a ton of them in the boat, but we've seen big ones and just haven't caught them.
I got you. All right, brother. I appreciate it, Will.
Yes, sir.